actually agree with atheists on one major point, that there is zero scientific evidence for God's existence, and frankly, there never will be. This may surprise you because I'm a Christian theist, but it shouldn't. If this sounds counterintuitive, it's not your fault. It's because we've all been conditioned by a culture that obsesses over the fruits of knowledge, data, and technology, while ignoring the roots of knowledge, epistemology. Okay, well, how would you prove God then? To do it, you have to stop looking at the roof and start looking at the foundation. Today, I'm going to show you this architecture of knowledge that science relies upon but cannot prove. By the way, I'm Dr. Derek. I have a PhD in philosophy. I used to be an atheist, and this stuff is all I do all day long. All right, let's dive in. Now, this category error has a name. It's called Scientism. It's the belief that science is the only way, or perhaps the best way, to know truth. And I'm sorry to say, Scientism is wrong. Now, if some internet apologist told you that, you probably would roll your eyes. And frankly, you probably should. But what if a Nobel Prize winner told you that? Sir Peter Medawar won a Nobel Prize in medicine. He admitted that science is technically helpless when it comes to answering questions like, what is the point of living? Or Thomas Nagel, one of the most famous atheist philosophers alive. He wrote an entire book dismantling the idea that physics can explain everything. Or Jaron Lanier, the father of virtual reality, who warned us that treating humans like data is a wrong approach. The solution is to double down on being human. Schrödinger, Penrose, Chomsky, Wittgenstein, these aren't Christian apologists. These are the architects of the modern world. Again, none of them are religious. Even they are telling you, don't forget the foundation. So I want to show you what they see. I want to show you the architecture of knowledge that science relies upon but cannot prove. Science can explain gravity, atoms, and stars, but there's one thing, among many, that science cannot explain. It can't explain itself. To understand why, we have to look at the bedrock. This bedrock is made of things like the law of non-contradiction. It's a simple rule that says both A and not A cannot be true at the same time and in the same sense. An 8-ball can be both black and white, but it can't be black all over and white all over at the same time. It's impossible. Now here's the question that breaks scientism. Can you prove this law of non-contradiction using science? Of course not, because you would have to use the law in order to try to prove the law, and that's circular reasoning. It's like trying to lift yourself up by your own shoelaces. You can pull as hard as you want, but you're not going anywhere. And using the law of non-contradiction is not using science, it's using logic, which is not science. This is the tension. We're not wrong to use science. The mistake is thinking that science is the only thing in the room. Think of it like a computer or a smartphone. Science is a brilliant app like Photoshop or Excel. Logic is the operating system. You can't run an app without the operating system already in place, and you can't use the calculator app to try to prove the iOS. The iOS has to be there first. By the way, this is partly why so many debates in my comment section turn into a war zone. One side is arguing about the app, quoting data and studies, and the other side is arguing for the operating system. They aren't even speaking the same language. But even if we agree on the operating system, surely we can trust the raw data, right? Well, that's actually the second trap. So the OS logic is running, and we aren't wrong to use the apps, science, but in order for the apps to work, we have to input data. And this brings us to our second level of the architecture, the reliability of the senses. Right now, you believe you're watching a video. You believe your eyes are telling you the truth. You believe the external world is real. But here's the problem, science can't prove any of those things. How do you know that you're not just a brain in a vat, being fed these electrical signals made to simulate that you're watching a video? Let's say you use the tools of science, maybe a microscope or a scanner. I don't know why you would use a microscope, but let's just go with it. In reality, if you are in a simulation, you'd be using a simulated microscope to test whether you're in that simulation, and you can start to see the problem. You'd be trapped in the loop. In order to do any science at all, we, both atheist and Christian, have to make massive assumptions. We have to assume that the universe is intelligible. We have to assume that the external world is real, that the senses aren't deceiving us, that the future will be like the past. Can't prove these things, we trust them. And by the way, this means that the strict materialist isn't just operating on pure evidence, they're operating on a kind of faith. It's a reasonable faith, it's an assumption, but it's still a kind of faith. Now, as for introspection, we could spend an entire video just on consciousness, the fact that you're aware of the screen. But let's not get too sidetracked, let's just assume that you are conscious and we'll move on. So we have the OS, logic, we trust the senses, the raw data. Now we step onto the floor. And this is where a very common sleight of hand usually happens. It's where observation gets rebranded as just science. To see the difference, imagine that you're holding an apple and you drop it. What just happened? The floor of our structure is very simple. The apple fell. That is an observation. It's raw data. A baby can see it. A dog can see it. You don't need a PhD in science in order to observe that. At this point, you're not doing science quite yet. But here's the thing. If I asked you why it fell, you'd of course say gravity. But notice what just happened. You stopped talking about the observation and you started talking about the explanation. You move from the floor to the roof. Gravity isn't a basic fact in the same way that a falling apple is. Gravity is a theory, a mathematical model that we constructed to explain the fact, the raw datum. You can see the apple fall, but you can't see gravity because it's not an observation. You can only see what it does. And this is the most important thing I'll say in this entire video. Theists and atheists stand on the same floor. They see the same stars, they see the same fossils, they see the same cancer cells. The debate is never about the actual raw input. And contrary to popular belief, we usually accept the same scientific theories, the roof. I accept gravity, I accept evolution, I accept the Big Bang. So the debate isn't about the science, it's about the structural integrity of this thing. It's not about fighting over the roof, it's about investigating the blueprints. It's about asking what are the necessary logical tools required to build that roof, and do we have those in our inventory? But we still have a problem. We have the floor, the apple fell, and we have the roof, general relativity, but how do you get from one to the other? How do you get from a finite number of apples falling, which are just facts, to a universal invisible law of gravity, which is a model? You can't just jump from the floor to the roof, the gap is too wide. And if you just stack up facts, you don't get science. You just get a pile of facts. So to build the roof, you need pillars. You need specific binding agents to allow you to turn data into scientific theories. These pillars or binding agents have names: induction, abduction, testimony, and memory. These are the tools that allow us to predict the future, to trust our memory, and to infer the best explanation. And here's the reality. Most people, whether they're religious or not, have never looked at these tools. They just take the roof for granted. But if you want to be a serious thinker, you can't just inherit the house. You got to know how it's built. Now, you probably clicked this video because you want to know how to prove God. The answer might surprise you. The answer is you use the exact same tools we use to prove gravity. There is no magic religious logic. There's just logic and reasoning. So in part 2, we're going to master this architecture. We're going to look at induction, abduction, memory, and testimony. Because if we don't understand how the building stands up, then we have no business asking who, if anyone, built it. And then once we have that in place, once the structure is sound, then we can ask how we can prove God. I've been Dr. Derek, and now the real work begins.